Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again on Everything Aero Pilates. Today I wanted to do my easiest assembly for a brand new Aero Pilates ever. So if you've seen my channel before, you know that I've done multiple unboxings and multiple assemblies, and they might have looked a little complicated or maybe a little difficult. And I know just by reading some of the reviews that lifting this machine on its side, opening it up, it can be very difficult for a lot of people, especially with mobility issues or alone. Now HSN has in their little website, when you go to the Aero Pilates section, whichever Aero Pilates you're trying to buy, it'll tell you that it'll take about 30 minutes with 2 people putting this together. I have never had help putting these together, so it just takes maybe a little longer, not much, but a little longer, because you're for the whole process, the unboxing and everything. The actual assembly is very quick, but to take everything out and to get everything aside and to move the machine around and get everything together, it takes a little longer. And so if you have a person that can help you, that would actually be the ultimate easiest. But if you do not have a person to help you, this is my easiest assembly. I was thinking about it. So I already have my machine out of the box. Now to get the machine out of the box, you can do 2 things. You can cut the sides if you're not going to need the box, like if you know you're not going to send it back. The other way to do it is from the box, you tilt up and pull the side of the Aero Pilates onto the edge of the box, and then you get into the box, or from the side of the box, lift the Aero Pilates, and it stands up upright instead of laying down right now. So the process that I have right now, I did set it on the side of the box, I stood it up, and I laid it back down. And I should have taken off the bag when I had it standing up. But an easy thing to do right now is to just kind of scoot the bag down. So that's what we're going to do now. So if you don't have your machine out of the box yet, you're going to unpack everything from the top. You're going to set it on the side. You're either going to lift up your machine on the side of the box, and you can check out my other videos for that. It'd be like if I lifted this up on the side of the box, put my machine up, and then if you can, put it carriage side up. If you have cut your box and scooted the machine out, it's going to be carriage down, and you can do this just in reverse. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the carriage off. The carriage is really part of the heavy. It's actually a very heavy part because it has to be sturdy for us to lay on, no matter up to 300 pounds for this particular machine, 300 to 350 pounds depending on what machine you have. So the carriage is actually quite heavy. So to take it off of the machine, I'm just going to roll it off the rails. Now the straps are attached to the carriage, so you need to make sure the straps are ready to be. Now mine are all untangled. Mine are tangled underneath. But I'm just going to untangle them and get them out and separate. So like this side, whoop, there, my carriage already fell off. That happens sometimes with assembly. It actually happens a lot. And for some people, it's just so frustrating. They actually put it back on and put it back in the box and ship it back. But this is going to be a good thing in this case. We are going to leave the carriage off. I've showed you before how to put it back on if you wanted to leave it on for assembly. You literally just slide it back on. But in this case, I'm still working on these straps. Get your straps untangled. Hopefully you didn't get them as tangled up as I did. But get them untangled. Get them on the outside of the carriage. Okay. So now the carriage, the straps are on the side, and it's just ready to slide off. I'm going to lift it up a little because the back wheels, the wheels down here are off the track. Slides right off if you don't have a bag in the way. Okay, so now your carriage is completely to the side. And I'm going to just set it sideways. Alright, now what I'm going to work with is this frame. And this is still a steel frame. It's not super light, but just look, it's so much different to lift around. Again, if you slid your Aero Pilates out, your carriage is on the bottom. Your straps are going to be a little easier to untangle because they're underneath anyway. And you're going to slide instead of the carriage off the top, you're going to slide the rails off the top. You might have to just check where this opening is the carriage is going to be upside down, and you're just going to slide it off according to how the rails work. So let's just get the carriage off. That's the point, to make it a lot easier. Now that we have that done, we still have our regular assembly. So we have the double-sided screws here with the threads that we're going to put the wheels on. And you have your bag with all your pieces. Including your tools. Now I'm going to check how many washers I have. So I do have the 6 washers in this package. So I'm going to put 2 washers each on the inside here. So there's 2 here, 2 here. I'm going to put a wheel on each side. And then I'm going to put the final washers at the end. And you have 2 little nuts that are going to screw on the end. I finger tighten them first, and then I go ahead and tighten them with the tools. And this is the tool that comes with it. If you haven't seen my other videos, you're going to use the wider side, and I'm just going to hand tighten with my fist right now, the nuts. And then when it gets stuck, I'm going to use this screwdriver part, put it in, and then use it as a ratchet without breaking it. The key to this part of the assembly is to not over tighten these nuts, because you can really get the wheels stuck. And if the wheels are stuck, you're just not going to be able to roll your machine closed. And that is not a good thing. So I'm already to the point where I need to tighten with the tools. I think I'm going to do about 6 of these now. So you only need it on enough that it's not going to come off, and you definitely need to leave that motion for the wheels. In a couple other builds, I tightened it too much, and the wheels couldn't move, and then you're just not going to be able to close your machine very well and store it. Okay, both of my wheels are working. I'm ready to go. So this would be the point in the build. And if you need a little more detail on that, my other videos are a lot more detailed in just that part. But now to move on with the build, I'm going to take the metal frame of the machine. I have this cardboard here to keep my floors from being scratched. So that's a good idea if you have a type of wood floors to have a cardboard. This cardboard came from the box. You just set it out and make sure that you have the ends on here. But now you can see that I set that up really easily. Before, you would have the carriage on there and you'd have to really lift it up, and it would be much heavier, much more awkward. Now I'm going to open up the frame. And I have my little feet that I have to put on the frame. Now for an easy assembly, get your own screwdriver. If you don't have your own screwdriver though, you can use the screwdriver provided. It's going to take a little bit longer. And then there's 4 holes on the bottom of the machine, and you just screw in these feet. This is the longest part of any AeroPilates build, is to put these 4 feet on. So I hope that's encouraging to you, because you know you're screwing in 4 screws. Okay, this is a different seller than they don't guarantee that the main machine is going to function as it's supposed to. So I'm guessing that probably has something to do with the missing piece. But it's 1 screw, and considering everything else is in wonderful condition, I still feel pretty happy with the refurbished unit. So I'm just going to have to get that screw some other time. And right now I'm just going to act like that foot is on. And right now I have to screw it on. So give yourself a couple seconds for that. And now we have to go ahead and open the machine. It's time to open the machine. And without the carriage, usually with the carriage, it's a little difficult, and you have to hold it up, hold it up, hold it up, and then slowly put it down so it doesn't slam down, because the carriage is very heavy. But without the carriage, we're going to have a really easy opening. And I'm going to show you that now. Now this frame is still a little heavy, So you could do what I just did and kind of, lift it up and open it, or you could walk it to the side. So walking to the side would look something like this. You'd hold the one side there, you'd walk the other side out. So now I'm going to set the machine down. Now again, if I had the carriage on here, it really takes a lot of strength to hold it up before it slams down. Now I'm ready to put on the end caps. So I'm going to check where the wheels are, and the 2 extra cutouts in the middle of this end cap indicate that that's where the wheels go. So my wheels are over here. They're going to face towards the wheels, and you can also just line up the holes in the metal and in the end cap. The end cap has a double-sided sticky portion. I'm going to unstick it. And the actual AeroPilates, I'm going to stick my 2 fingers in the end cap like this while I'm lining it up. So first I go ahead and start to get it on, and I have the wheel side towards the wheels, which are facing down on the machine. I'm lining up the holes, and I'm getting my fingers in there so they'll line up properly. Okay, one end cap done, second end cap. Again, I'm going to take off the sticky part, take off the other sticky parts, and this time the curved arch goes from the outside, but goes to the outside of the machine, not towards the inside of the machine. That's one way to look at it, but you also can just line up the holes. So I line up the holes with the end cap. I'm getting my fingers in there so the holes are lined up correctly, and I push down. And that side's ready. Now the shoulder pads actually go on the carriage, so I'm going to wait on that, but I can go ahead and install the pulley risers with the machine like this as well. And then I'll show you how to put the carriage back on. So to do pulley risers, I make sure that the bottom hole, you have 5 holes here for levels, but this bottom hole is going to face out away from the machine because I'm going to screw through the arches that I showed you on the end cap and secure the pulley risers. And I'm just telling you, without having to worry about moving around that carriage, this build is so much easier, much quicker. It's just refreshing to have that. That turned, so it wasn't going in. But if your hole's lined up, you are going to get that screw in very easily. Okay. So now the pulley risers are in. The thing left to do is I'm going to roll up the machine as if it were together, and then I'm going to put my carriage on. We're almost done with this build. And roll up the machine. Those big wheels help it roll up. It's going to lay on the pulley riser. Okay, and we're going to put the carriage back on. The carriage is going to go on this pulley riser side. So where your frame is laying now and the pulley risers are on the ground, you're going to put the head of the carriage that way. Now this can also be done with the machine laying down. So I'll show you this way, then I'll cut it and I'll show you the other way. So you can choose which way you want to do. Now I'm only 5 foot, that's why I'm barely taller than this frame here. So it's going to be a little more difficult this way for me. If you're shorter or you just can't lift the carriage too high, you might want to do it the way I'm going to show you second. But here's the first way to put it on. I'm lining up the wheels into the frame, and it slides down, line the other wheels into the frame, and your machine is on, and now I can pop the shoulder pads on. So I'm going to turn it around and show that to you so you can see the alignment as well, and hopefully that'll help show you. Before I lift up, I'm going to make sure my straps are clear. This is the same as if you're changing a carriage. If you want your carriage off for some reason to clean it, or maybe you're going to reupholster it, whatever you're going to do, if you need your carriage off, in this instance, I'm just taking it off to show you how it lines up with the wheels again. But if you need to take your carriage off, make sure your straps are not tangled up. So here goes the carriage. Again, I'm 5 foot, so that's quite a stretch for me to do. But if you're taller, you probably won't have as much problem. This is pretty heavy, but that's why I'm gonna show you the other way. But if you're strong and you're somewhat tall, even, you know, you can see that I'm doing it. I may not be doing it gracefully, but it's possible to do. So now I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna line the wheels in. You're gonna see them line up with these rails, and the head's gonna go down towards the pulley riser. Okay, did we get it? Yep, we got it. Excellent. Excellent. If you saw how the wheels come to the track, here's the top wheels and the track. Okay, and now your machine, you're gonna pop in your shoulder pads and your machine's assembled. You can slide it out again and use it. But I'm gonna lay it down and show you the way that you can put the carriage back on if you lay it down. And remember, without the carriage, it's a lot easier to maneuver. But it's gonna look like this. So your machine's gonna be laid down, your pulley risers are gonna be up, and you can tell the pulley risers do not go on the side with the wheels. So if you have the wheels on one side, the pulley risers go on the other side. When you're installing with this frame, that might be the only thing that's kind of confusing. You put the pulley risers away from the wheels and away from where the cords connect. You'll see the little cutouts for where the cords connect. Okay, so here we are. We have laid our machine down, it's already together. We have the carriage, we kind of lined it up. We're gonna lift it and we're gonna line up the wheels on the track, and you really only have to lift a little. So it's not like you're lifting the whole weight of the carriage, and then you just kind of lift the back of the carriage, it glides right on. You might have to check the alignment, which I missed it, but just peek and check the alignment. We're lined up, and now I'm gonna stand up the machine, I can roll it out and I can use it. So this part of standing at the machine might be the heaviest part of your whole entire build in this easy build. So just get ready for it. Lift with your knees, make sure you're lifting properly, or see if somebody can help you. If you leave it like this, the carriage is gonna roll off automatically. So you don't really wanna leave it like that. So it comes up, it's quick to put back on, but you wanna try to stand it up. And when you stand it up, the pulley risers are gonna help you from tipping it completely over. So you have a little help. So I'm gonna stand it up, stand with my legs, lean it on. So now I have it on the wheels. So it's easy to move, and then when I want it somewhere, I lean it nicely on the pulley risers. Okay, so that is the easiest build that I have ever done. It's the quickest build I've ever done. Oh, I forgot, I didn't put the shoulder pads in. Now that I have the carriage on one way or the other, we're gonna pop in these shoulder pads. And this has been my quickest, easiest build. I'm a lot less winded, I had to do a lot less lifting. And you can position differently. It won't be as difficult. I'm trying to stay in camera angle, and so some of that makes it a little more difficult, but you have your machine installed. The last part you will have to do is the pulley riser hooks, and those are super easy. The straight pin of the pulley riser hook goes from the inside of the pulley riser. So here's the inside by the shoulder pads. The straight hook goes in from there. And it's gonna, when you lay it down for use, it's gonna correct its spot. And I'm gonna put the handle here just to get it out of the way. So same thing for this handle, I'm gonna unbundle it. The straight part of the pulley riser hook. So go ahead and untangle the strap and look at the hook. This one got a little caught on the pulley. You know, things like that happen. It's not a big deal. You're just gonna grab the strap out. So I think. There we go. And it's loose now. So the straight part of the hook is going to go from the inside, which is in by the shoulder pads, to the outside, and it's going to hook on. Okay, so now I'm going to hook on my handle. Now I'm going to unroll my machine, and it's going to be ready to use. So even this is one of the biggest machines that they have. You can see how easy this is to move around if it doesn't get caught on cardboard. It just rolls right across the room to where I need it. And I can turn it and roll it. You know, it's just an amazing, amazing machine for portability and for storing. So I'm gonna lay it down. When you're unrolling it, you let the wheels go and you hold this middle bar right here and help it support it down. You're out. Now remember, it's giving me a little bit of a wiggle because that foot's not on. But other than that, you would put on your cord right here, and you would be ready to go. So This is my favorite strap adjustment system. It's the new strap adjustment system. This happens to be the 701 model. If you're wondering what this nice pretty gray is, has the wider bed at the bottom, 23.5 inches, 20 inches, about 21 inches up here, 23.5 here for your hands to go next to your side. Gives you lots of space. But that was the easiest build. So I'm just checking my polarizer. I got a little stuck. Okay. So that was my easiest build to date. I took the carriage off. It made the machine much easier to lay on its side, to open to the V so I could get the feet on, then to open all the way and lay down without that carriage there. And then the carriage takes about, 15 seconds to put on. Depending if you're doing the standing one, it might take a little longer, especially if you're short like me. But if you're doing the lying down, where you lay the frame down and you stick the carriage back on, roll it back on, it's much quicker. And now you're ready to go. So I hope that inspired you guys. I know maybe watching some of my other videos, you were like, wow, that's very detailed and the process looks a little difficult. It is a little difficult. It's absolutely worth it. So if you can do it that way, there's no problem with it. But from now on, I am always going to take the carriage off and do the build because I didn't have to reach over the carriage. I didn't have to lift the weight of the carriage for any of those, for standing on the side, for opening it long, and then even for putting on the polarizers. Everything was so much easier without this carriage on here. So let me know what you think. Tell me if you have any questions or comments below. Try this. If the other way is intimidating, try this way without the carriage and see if it goes more smoothly for you. I can tell you, having put many of these together, that was my easiest all-time build. And especially with this carriage, that's the extra big carriage, the widest that they make at all for the foldable units. To have that out of my way and not have to reach over it to screw in the wheel or the feet, to not have to try to maneuver it or manhandle it around. Or worry about it getting scratched on its side, just all that stuff. The carriage is to the side, nice and safe. The frame is still heavy. This steel frame is still heavy, but so much more easily manageable because the carriage makes it kind of side heavy, like where it wants to tip. It wants to tip, and so you have to be a little more careful. Without the carriage, you just have an even frame, and you can get all your work done.